There are moments that pass unnoticed. Seconds where everything pivots and you don't feel it. Where the architecture of your future rearranges itself and you just keep walking, keep breathing, keep believing nothing has changed. This is a story about one of those moments. About a thread so thin you couldn't see it, but strong enough to pull an entire life in a different direction. He was living in a city that felt too big and too small at the same time. The kind of place where you could disappear into crowds, but never escape yourself. He worked in finance, numbers, spreadsheets, conference rooms with glass walls. His days blurred together. Monday felt like Thursday. June felt like October. Time moved, but nothing shifted. He told himself this was normal, that everyone felt this way. That purpose would arrive later, when he earned more, when he moved up, when life finally started. But there was a tension he couldn't name. A restlessness that woke him at 3 in the morning. He would lie there, staring at the ceiling, listening to the city hum outside his window, and feel like he was waiting for something. He didn't know what, just that it hadn't arrived yet, and he was tired of waiting. On a Tuesday in March, he had a meeting across town, a potential client. High stakes. His manager had briefed him 3 times, told him to be sharp, be confident, close the deal. He prepared obsessively, rehearsed answers to questions that might never come, wore his best suit, navy blue, tailored the armor of competence. He looked at himself in the mirror that morning and saw someone playing a role, but he didn't know what else to be. Left early, took the train, sat near the window and watched the city scroll past. Gray buildings, construction sites, people on platforms staring at phones. Everyone moving, but no one arriving. He checked his watch, checked his notes, checked his reflection in the window glass. Everything was in place, but something felt off. A vibration beneath the surface, like standing on ice that hasn't cracked yet, but will. The meeting was in a converted warehouse. Exposed brick, industrial lighting, the kind of space that wants you to know it's expensive. He arrived 10 minutes early and was told to wait in the lobby. So he sat. Leather chair, glass table, magazines he didn't read. And that's when he noticed her. A woman standing near the elevator, mid-30s maybe. Charcoal blazer, hair pulled back tight. She was on her phone, pacing slightly. Her expression was unreadable, professional, controlled, but there was something else, an edge, a sharpness. She ended her call, slipped the phone into her bag, and as she turned toward the elevator, she passed within a few feet of him. He wasn't looking at her, wasn't paying attention, but the air shifted. Something moved through the space between them, invisible, barely there, a scent, faint, but distinct. It wasn't floral, it wasn't sweet. It had depth, complexity, wood, and something green, something alive. It felt expensive, but not in the way that announces itself, in the way that whispers, that trusts you to notice. He inhaled, not intentionally, just breathed, and the fragrance reached him, settled into his awareness. For a moment, he forgot where he was, forgot the meeting, forgot the script he'd rehearsed. He just sat there, suspended in the wake of something he couldn't see. The woman stepped into the elevator. The doors closed. She was gone, but the scent lingered, faint, fading. But there, he was called into the meeting 5 minutes later. Shook hands, smiled, delivered his pitch, but he wasn't fully present. Part of him was still in the lobby, still replaying that moment. The air changing, the trace of something that didn't belong to him but had reached him anyway. He closed the deal. His manager would call it a success, but he felt like he'd been somewhere else the entire time. Like his body performed while his mind stayed behind. On the train ride back, he tried to recall the scent, tried to rebuild it in his memory, but it was already fading. All that remained was the feeling, the sense that something had been introduced, a question without words. He looked around the train car, at the faces, the tired eyes, the people returning from jobs they tolerated, and he wondered how many of them felt it too, the weight of living a life that fit on paper but not in the chest. That night, he couldn't sleep. He lay in bed and stared at the ceiling and felt the restlessness sharpen. It had been there for months, maybe years, but now it had a shape. The woman's scent had done something, not changed him, but revealed him, shown him the gap between who he was and who he was pretending to be. And once you see that gap, you can't unsee it. He started paying attention to the small choices he'd stopped making, to the things he said yes to out of obligation, to the hours he spent preparing for a future he wasn't sure he wanted. he realized he had been following a thread someone else had tied. A path that made sense to everyone but him. Stable job, good salary, clear progression. But it didn't feel like it felt like a script, and he was tired of reading lines. He didn't quit immediately, didn't make a dramatic exit, but he started pulling at the thread, slowly, carefully. He took a weekend trip alone, something he'd never done. Drove north to a town he'd never heard of, walked empty streets, sat in a cafe and read without checking his phone. And in that silence, he felt something shift, a loosening, like a knot coming undone. When he returned, he started saying no. 2 drinks he didn't want, 2 projects that drained him, 2 conversations that went nowhere. People noticed, asked if he was okay. He told them he was fine, and he was. More fine than he'd been in years. Because he was starting to choose, starting to shape his days instead of letting them shape him. Monspa said he kept pulling the thread, applied for a transfer, a different department. Less prestige, less money, but more alignment with who he was becoming. His manager was confused, asked him why he'd stepped down. He didn't have an answer that made sense to anyone else. So he just said it felt right, and that was enough. He never saw the woman again, never learned her name, never found the fragrance she wore. He searched, walked through department stores, tested bottles, asked questions, but nothing matched. Maybe he was remembering it wrong. Maybe it had never been about the scent at all. Maybe it was just a moment, a crack in the routine wide enough to see through. But he thinks about it often. That Tuesday in March, the labia, the elevator, the invisible thread that pulled. He wonders if she knew, if she understood the power she carried, or if it was just him, just a man ready to unravel, waiting for permission to let go. The scent didn't answer anything, it hustasket, and once the question entered, it stayed. A year later, he was living differently. Not radically, not obviously, but internally. He made choices that felt like his, took risks that made sense only to him, and when people asked what changed, he couldn't explain it. How do you tell someone that a stranger's fragrance rewrote the terms of your life? That an invisible thread, pulled once, unraveled everything you thought was permanent? He started wearing fragrance differently, not as routine, but as intention. He chose scents that felt like decisions. That said something about who he was becoming instead of who he'd been, and when he wore them, he moved through the world differently, more present, more deliberate. People responded. Conversations deepened. Opportunities appeared. He couldn't say if it was the fragrance or the shift inside him. Probably both, probably inseparable. He still works in finance, still wears suits, still takes trains across town, but the script is his now. The thread he follows is one he chose. And it started with a moment he almost missed. A woman passing, a scent, lingering, an invisible force that asked him a question he didn't know he needed to answer. Who are you when no one tells you who to be? The thread is still there, thinner now, almost invisible, but he feels it, guiding, pulling, reminding him that the smallest moments carry the heaviest weight. That fate doesn't announce itself, it whispers. And if you're listening, if you're ready, it changes everything. One breath, one invisible thread, and nothing stays the same. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more.